Hello, my name is Andrew Manby. I head up product management for HCL Digital Solutions. I'm very excited to be presenting again at RNUG. Probably like most of the speakers, I wish that I was back in Russia to present this, and really enjoyed the last RNUG presentation. So my topic today is to talk about the HCL Digital Solutions product strategy. The goal here is to set the tone and to also talk about some of the things that are in our minds, in our conversations, as we think beyond some of the content which is going to be presented already. So beyond the same time connections, and some of the excellent Domino and Domino Vault roadmap presentations that you'll see from the team this week. As always, the statements and direction are subject to change. So my presentation really covers a number of chapters. They're really organized into two primary groups. The first group is based upon the Domino franchise. That's what we think about as our Domino business, and is really going to cover predominantly three areas. Firstly, our thoughts about Domino application development strategies. Secondly, the HCL strategy around low code in the portfolio. And then lastly, what we're planning to do and what we already have in the area of the digital office or digital workspace. And on the right-hand side, you'll see another area that we focus on in the portfolio called business critical digital experiences. And that's where we have our traditional HCL DX product, but it also interfaces with part of our low-code portfolio strategy, and also what HCL is doing much more broadly with its customer journey strategy that links in the DX product, also links in a Unica for marketing automation, and also the HCL Commerce product as well. So you've seen this slide from Richard Jeffs already, and it does a great job of integrating what are the market signals that the Constellation Research analyst firm saw recently in their most recent surveys. And I think you'll agree this will actually dovetail very nicely with the topic areas I'm going to cover today. Certainly, we're seeing a fundamental shift in the importance of technology for employees, for workers, as they interact with every single day. It's also a recognition that low code is becoming even more important, but there's some pieces that we need to explore there to unpack. People's organizations' expectations about how they build out their successful customer journeys across all of their digital touch points is actually changing. And I'll cover that when I start talking about DX and also VaultMX. So this is drilling down one level deeper than Richard showed in his last presentation. Again, we're reaffirming that our goal is to be a leader in the low-code application development space for both professional and citizen developers. So this roadmap encapsulates what we have for both of those platforms in a single nutshell. On the things to call out here is our VaultMX product that we announced at Digital Week. We have our first HCL WASH version coming, which is 9.2, coming in March of next year, leading up to a major release of the product, VaultMX version 10, by around this time next year. And we'll go from as part of our collaboration with Temenos, adding additional capabilities and improving the fit and finish in March, and also HCL washing it to provide a major release this time next year, as I mentioned, that's really going to focus on 3 areas. One, increasing developer velocity. Second, taking the enterprise integration capabilities we have and augmenting them. And then thirdly, today we have both on-prem and cloud delivery as a SaaS offering, but we want to increase that to more cloud native options to give more private cloud options. From a low-code platform perspective for citizen developers, we have a fantastic release in V12 coming up. And I know Thomas Hampel and Barry Rosen will draw into that in more detail. A couple of the areas which are important is really the addition of business workflow capabilities in Domino Vault. That Domino Vault capability, and I'll talk more about it, will actually enable us to create an entirely new offering called Vault Business. But more about that as we get into the presentation. So within the V12 release, we'll have a number of point releases that will bring additional capabilities as well as the base release. And I've mapped out here the things that you'll see in the roadmap presentations from Thomas and Barry. What we also plan to do is to increase the number of REST APIs that we have for the product, and that will enable us to further open up the platform to other ISVs to build applications, but it also enables us to do some rather interesting things with the product after V12 in the V13 timeframe. I'll dive into these a little bit more as we go through the presentation, but it will enable us to move in the direction of a new open client strategy where we'll be able to support Apple Mail and Microsoft Outlook both on Mac and Windows, and also mobile as well. We also want to continue the drumbeat around Domino Vault, and we also want to look to see what else we can do, and we have some great ideas about updating the core of Domino as well. So one of the projects that Jason Gary, our CTO, is working on, and this was discussed at Digital Week. He runs our HCL Innovation Lab and has a project called Quatro. And really the output of that project is really 3 things, working very closely with Domino development teams. Firstly is improving our support for our container platforms, and specifically OpenShift. But importantly, there's 2 other things that it contains. Firstly is the keep REST APIs that within version 12, 12.01, that we're hoping to provide those as part of the product. And that will really open up every aspect of the platform to modern contemporary APIs, and will give us a platform to add other pieces to it. Importantly, the other thing that it enables is the open client strategy, and it really helps us to add additional capabilities to our existing verse and note strategy. So we'll have both our existing mail clients, and we'll also have these new open clients as well. And that will give our customers primarily choice. And in the V13 timeframe, it will be part of the core platform. It's going to be built on a new innovative approach, which basically means is that we'll be able to add additional protocols in the mail space as they become prevalent. As Jason and I were just talking the other day, there's a new one currently in the works in the Apache community, and this will give us an excellent jumping off point for that. So we've been on a journey now since the first release of Domino back in October the 9th and 10th of 2018 to really build out these 3 swim lanes from an application development perspective. The first one is really business users and citizen developers, and we've made great strides in the area with Domino Vault, but we've got more to do there. And some of these things that I'll talk about in more detail as we get into the roadmap, but essentially continuing with that drumbeat, focused on enabling business users to build applications and workflows on the platform without having to become developers to do that. And we are continuing to build out additional sample apps for that platform as well. So if any of you have been to the sandbox, you'll know there's many applications out there. In fact, there's a webcast this month. We'll get into the details of the new December functionality for the product. And it will also include some sample apps that we've just made available on the sandbox. The middle area is what we do with Domino Pro developers. I'm very excited about what's coming in Domino version 12 with Nomad Web, which will give the ability to run any Domino application actually natively on a browser. And that's tremendously exciting, and we'll continue to invest in that. That is currently in a private beta situation, and will go EGA with the V12 release. But we also recognize we've got work to do around the designer IDE and further expanding the ecosystem and the capabilities of the product as well. In the third area, it's really more about the OpenStack developers. We continue to make progress on the app dev pack. There's some updates coming if you tune into the session with Thomas and Barry around X pages, and expect an update on the C API as well that we're refreshing. And this is the first time we've done that since the V9 release itself. But we have some work to do. I mentioned that the addition of the Keep APIs in the 12.x timeframe that will open up opportunities. Some of those opportunities it will open up, firstly, is for us to add contemporary SDKs to some of the development environments out there. What it will also do is to open up the door to our VaultMX, which is our professional developer low-code platform, to coexist and integrate with the Domino platform. So I've talked a little bit about low-code application development platforms and the fact that HCL is very invested in being a leader in this space. But we recognize that we need two sets of platforms. We need a platform for professional developers who are fundamentally creating native, that's native mobile and PW-based mobile apps for primarily sort of consumer-based experiences. That's why we have VaultMX. And then there's a notion for developers which are primarily focused on developing applications within a department, or it could be across a business. It's really about building those forms and workflow-based solutions within the business to be able to run pieces of the business itself. And that's obviously building on the strengths of having a web-based browser development tool, the ability to be able to start from data that you can import from an Excel spreadsheet, and allowing business users to build the workflows that are meaningful to bring their business processes alive. So different outcomes and different tools for the purpose. So what does the Domino Vault strategy look like? I mentioned we have a release coming in December with continued improvements and integration with the core Domino engine, and Marty Lechleiter will cover that. In around the middle of next year, we're really going to lean into two things and deliver two things. First, we're going to be introducing a new graphical workflow design capability that will open the door. This will be a separate user experience in addition to the builder you have today, to build more complex stages and workflows. So you can add decisioning rules, you can add assignments, reminders and due dates. You'll have a workflow approval log, so you can actually look back and track all the approvals. And you'll also be able to set rules based on roles. So as you can see, a rather a large investment in adding the workflow side of the equation. And that will enable us to be more competitive against Power Apps than the Nintex K2 types of applications in the marketplace itself. The second area here is really around the area of integration. And this is something that's coming in the March timeframe next year, or earlier in the first half of next year. And we're going to be including some middleware with the product that will come with pre-built connectors to a number of backend systems itself. And the capability itself is seamlessly integrated into the Domino Vault product, enables us to integrate with any protocol or database or application. And it also has the ability to integrate across multiple backend systems to create essentially flows. And if you need to add a connector to a data source and it looks like one of the patterns we have in the box, then you'll be able to do that yourself and add it to it. So what we're saying is, in addition to the role of the, if you like, the builder of the application, someone who has a bit more technical expertise in IT can integrate with these backend systems and have those integrations available at the fingertips of the business developers. So they can think about integrating customer data or order information. They don't need to worry about whether it's in a database or what that REST API looks like. We're greatly accelerating the time to value. The last part is going to be an announcement that we'll be making. We'll be bringing to market a new offering called Vault Business. This will be a standalone product that you can buy and run anywhere. It's primarily aimed at customers that do not have Domino or Domino skills today, and it's aimed at also our HCL Leap customers. Simply put, this product is a containerized specific version of Domino under the covers, embedded in it, with Domino Vault included, all wrapped up, and can be easily installed and run. So no one needs to have any Domino expertise to be able to do that. But if you do, that's great. We want to make that as a Docker delivery to simplify the delivery of the solution. And we also want to make it open for our business partners to build ecosystem apps as well. So this will be a distinct new license type in addition to what we have with Domino. And that's, from my perspective, that's very exciting. So let's talk about how we plan to integrate our Domino platform, which is the basis for Domino Vault and also Vault Business, with our professional developer low-code platform called VaultMX. Jason, Gary, and I have plans to integrate the VaultMX middleware called Foundry with Domino in the V12 plus timeframe, using the Keep REST APIs. And that essentially means is that Domino will become a first-class data source to anyone building a VaultMX application. And we're positioning VaultMX in this scenario primarily to enable people to build new classes and mobile apps outside of what they would do with Nomad, for other purposes, but they need some data coming from the Domino application itself. What we're currently imagining, looking out further, is really what we're doing in the area of the designer. So we have a strategic intent to provide what we call the Iris IDE, the Vault Iris IDE, as the standard for more professional development across Domino, VaultMX, and also DX. So in this, what we're imagining is, in addition to the classic designer that you understand today, that we also want to drive in the future to a PWA, is that we want to add a Vault Iris experience to the platform. And what this will enable us to do It will give us a great developer IDE, but it will also enable us to give you additional capabilities and platforms for development. That means that the classic designer still stays around, and if you just want to be able to tweak an application, existing application, then the designer classic designer is the best place to do that. But we're also going to be imagining, what could you do with it with the power of the Vault Iris IDE on the Domino platform. Again, more exciting stuff. So let me turn our attention. We talked a lot about application development, but I want to start talking about our journey on as far as the digital workplace or digital office, depending on which analyst firm you talk to. So you may have seen versions of this slide since it was first created for the Engage conference last year, where we're showing our journey from taking some of the capabilities we have and turning them into progressive web apps and creating a standard across our portfolio. We've essentially first started that with Verse and successfully released that as a PWA. I don't know about you, but I use it every single day on my desktop and continue to enjoy its capabilities. So well done to the team. Some of you may be participating in the Nomad Web private beta. Our plan there is to provide next year some desktop PWA capability. So essentially enabling people to create a progressive web app and dock that on their desktop. And I know there's some great demos out there that we showed at Digital Week, and I'm sure more to come at RNUG. From a meetings and chat perspective, that's in our roadmap. We have web-based versions of our chat and also our meetings capability. And later on, in a couple of months or so, we'll have a preview available of running in a PWA or Electron environment for our chat and meetings capability. Yes, we already have the mobile apps there for same time, all integrated for both the chat and meetings perspective, but we want to go one stage further and add that desktop capability. From a connection standpoint, our next major version of connections, we just announced version 7, but looking further out, as we do the user experience redesign, we're planning to add PWA capabilities. So all of these things exist standalone. As you can see, we're evolving to a common set of modern standards. But what that also enables us to do is to imagine a single integrated user experience, which we're calling Project Yuzu. But before I do that, let's just talk about connections for a second. So we've been on a journey since joining the product, joining HCL with 6.5, and now with the announcement of version 7, actually delivering some major functionality. Hopefully you're as excited as I am about what's in version 7 with the tailored experience capability, so you can start faster with building a community, but also turn those templates that you have today that are proven into repeatable patterns that you can just go get up and go with. We've also added more support for the Microsoft ecosystem. I would say it's very significant here. And we'll continue to invest in that, but also integrating it with our own ecosystem. But stay tuned for that in a second. And we will also have some news around our support for our partner-led cloud with our MT version as well. And we're working very closely with our cloud hosting MSPs for that. So looking further out, what are we looking at? We know we've got some user experience work to do with the framework to improve the usability consistency of it. We know exactly what we have to do in that space. We have a number of mock-ups and happy to share those with you. So, improvement in functionality, but also the usability of the product. And as we've discussed, not only version 7, but what we plan to do with the framework, a lot of our customers are very excited about that. So looking further out, you know, what does the roadmap have for us around connections? Well, certainly, you know, since the inception of connections, the market for this product has changed and morphed, and particularly in the era of COVID, the importance of this capability has become even more prominent. And what we've also noticed as we've done customer surveys, we've honed in on exactly how customers are using the platform inside their enterprises. And it's really about building those sense of community. It's really about finding and connecting those experts, and really enabling organizations to better communicate with all of their constituencies. So you'll see us continuing to invest in the platform, but specifically in 3 areas that help to do couple of things around the community. It's really strengthening the community from the point of view of management, really the life cycle of the community itself, and also improving how we manage members. We also want to improve the engagement around the landing page and updates and notifications, so people can feel more part of the community. And what you'll also see is, if you think about with more of a focus on community and how this gets used, it means us integrating with more of the HCL ecosystem and adding even more third-party applications to this. And some of the areas we're thinking about is in the area of human resource applications, and also in some areas of linking with things such as LinkedIn, or some more of those types of sites. So let me introduce to you a vision that we have called Project Yuzu. This is our vision, which is in addition to what we're doing with the existing products and client capabilities today. And it's all about accelerating the flow of work. I know when I'm working, when I'm having meetings with the team, when I'm working myself, anything I can do to remove clicks, make it easier to find the information that I need, anytime I can avoid context switching and have everything at my fingertips, it increases my my concentration levels and the flow of work. Also, one of the things that we've noted is all of us work with multiple video meeting software throughout one particular day. And what we sort of find is that there's no sort of persistence there's no maintained context before the meeting or after the meeting. So one of the things we want to do is really think about how do you sort of maintain persistence. They have persistence when you're working in a specific project. If you have context, excuse me. That's better. If you can maintain that context, what that enables you to do is to pick up exactly where you left off from the last time you had the meeting, and allows everyone to make sure they're better up to speed with what's going on. So, you know, one way you can think about it is really taking what we have with Same Time Today and improving on what happens before, during, and after the meeting. But it also intersects with the way that people think about traditional collaboration, project, and personal information management as well. So this is an example, a screenshot of what Project Yuzu could potentially look like. This down the left-hand side, you'd have access to your mail, your projects, meetings, and chat. Essentially, you know, we're not organizing something here by an individual component like a meeting or a task or a file or a community or a collaboration. The idea is that we would organize it by a concept, by the activities that you can be involved in every single day. So imagine, I know for me, I'm involved in multiple projects through any given week or any given day or any given month. So I want to be able to see all the projects I'm involved in. And then what I'm able to do is to dive into the project space, and I can see everything that's relevant to that project. I want to be able to see a board of all of the tasks associated with it, all the relevant members of this. I can chat with them. I can go back if I missed a meeting. I can listen to and watch a recording of the last meeting. I can see the status of any of the tasks associated with it. And also I can reach out to any member of the community. And if I need to find an expert on it, I can do that. But as with anything else that I do with my Verse client, as you can see, once I'm in the Yuzu dashboard, I can also see what's happening from a meeting perspective as well. So, you know, what's the point of view or relationship to the other parts of the portfolio? Well, the goal here is that we'd be building Yuzu on the Domino franchise and the platform. The goal would be to make it another add-on to the platform itself. And it would then complement the existing use of the standalone products for Nomad or Verse, but it would also come with an assumption of integration with the Google and Microsoft ecosystem itself. And I mentioned connections. I talked about the connections roadmap, but it's also, it would be connected to what enterprises would be doing with the HCL Connections platform. So the two would be very closely integrated and providing value. Now, the timing of Yuzu right now is we're at the phase of showing you the concept. This is a bit like the auto industry where they show concept cars. This is our concept car. We've got an aggressive roadmap for same time next year and all the other products. But we're hoping to have some design sessions in the early part of next year. And we would love to get people involved in what that looks like. Our goal would be to get Yuzu, the first incarnation of Yuzu, in market sometime in the second half of next year. And this is a further drill down onto what it would look like. I mentioned it would have Domino at the core. It would integrate with the existing mail, be that M365 or your Domino mail. It would be the place where you could chat, you could have video meetings, you would also have your documents and your content. But primarily, this is where you organize everything by the projects, the tasks, and the activities that you would have. And you would have that at your fingertip. And then everything would be integrated with that. So you could say, for instance, you could use Domino Vault to build a specific form or workflow associated with your project. Maybe I'm within an individual project and I need to build an app to look at the CRM system. I could do that in Domino Vault and integrate it directly into Yuzu. Maybe I want to integrate with the purchasing system and build an approval workflow with it. I could build that in Domino Vault inside Project Yuzu and make it available to any member within the project. Maybe there's a document approval solution, a document approval that I want to do. Well, I could build it in Domino Vault, again within Yuzu, and I can make it available to members of this individual project or beyond. Again, you know, what we're doing here is taking some of the insights we have from connections and applying them to a specific scenario, which is focused on projects. So in a way, it's very complementary to what we're doing with connections, as I mentioned, and actually integrated with it. So the last area I wanted to touch on before we get to the Q&A section was really thinking, we've covered low code, we've covered Domino application development, we've talked about the digital office, and talked about what our plans are for some of the client experiences and capabilities from mail to community to projects, and how we're evolving it. Now, this is another area that Digital Solutions covers, and it's really about building those enterprise business critical digital experiences. And you know what you're seeing here is typically what our VaultMX and our HCL DX customers deal with every day. In the case of DX, they're using that solution to build business critical web experiences for banks, insurance companies, state and local governments. They're doing it for building employee portals. They're using it to build B2B systems between manufacturers and the dealer networks. And they're very extensive. And where the secret sauce of DX comes in, it really provides that secure business critical experience. And behind the login, we're actually integrating with multiple applications in the back end, and in some cases, digitizing the business process to bring it and integrate it here at the glass or the business process for the customer. And what they see is a very well-designed and integrated user experience for their checking account or for their insurance policies or anything that they have inside their employee system, from their corporate communications to access to their benefit information. Now, from a VaultMX standpoint, what it excels at is building beautiful apps that transform business experiences. So we're seeing a lot of organizations, and there are customers in common, and we only see that increasing, is where I want to build mobile apps. I want to build an app for iOS and Android, and I want to have a single platform to do that in, but I also want to deploy that on a wearable or an IoT device. That's where VaultMX comes in. So lots of things in common about building pixel perfect digital experiences across multiple digital channels. It's about digitizing or integrating with back-end processes. It's also integrating, as you can see here, the same digital content across all of the digital touch points, because again, that reaffirms brand image and it also improves the user experience. But it's also doing it in a way, it's integrating behind the login, giving authenticated access to specific backend services. So this is DX and also VaultMX. Our vision here is to bring them much closer together and integrate them at the intersection of any process, content, and application that's built cloud native. So our goal here is to make it easier for organizations to be able to do these two things in a much more seamless way. We think this will be a game changer for our customers, and also it's a game changer in the market, because no other low-code platform has this, and no other DXP platform has the same capabilities that VaultMX has. So why is this important, right? And this is where the two sides of the equation come together for both MX and VaultMX and DX. On the IT side, they need to be able to access those complex business processes, which they already have in place behind the login. And both DX and VaultMX do that fantastically. Some of the secret sauce of VaultMX is the integration layer, which we call Foundry. And in our vision, we want to bring that to DX. And at the front end, for the business users, so the practitioners, it's really understanding your users and the buyer journeys that they go on. Is this a commerce-based oriented site? Is this a site for, the checking account, whatever. But the important thing is sort of really understanding how people are going to want to use this and building the experiences across all of those digital touch points, across your watch, your mobile device, the website, that's relevant and appropriate and engaging in every single place. So this is what what we're able to do with our DX platform, our DXP capability, and MXDP with VaultMX today. And as I mentioned, our vision is to better integrate these over time. And from a VaultMX perspective and DX, we have some of those first elements in the roadmap for the middle parts of the year. So essentially what it means is, whether you have a kiosk, a mobile device, a wearable, or an IoT device, maybe it's your thermostat, maybe it's a temperature sensor device or whatever, or maybe you're building a web application. The goal would be to have the same tooling capabilities for the professional developer across all of these. Having both of these together enables us to have a consistent approach to orchestrating business processes, whether it's delivered through your web page or mobile device, We can share the digital content that's in the web content management system and also in the digital asset manager. Again, from an authenticated perspective, whether it's anonymous in the first instance, but then we're going behind the login to access those core systems, doing that in a very integrated and elegant way. And then lastly, building up reusable business logic that can be used across both platforms. So thinking about these from a common strategy enables us to think about these 4 areas in a consistent manner. But it also, as I was alluding to, makes it easier for us to integrate whatever we need from the back end, be it data and content and web services, existing systems, how we authenticate with things such as OAuth, or actually reach some of those SaaS-based applications, or for that matter, some of the traditional applications like SAP, Oracle, or whatever, Info on-premise. So with that, let's go to the last couple of slides. So as you saw it from Richard, why HCL Digital Solutions for digital transformation? As you've heard me talk about today, we know a lot about low code. If we go back to the origins of Notes, that capability of putting development in the hands of the business users is something that we fervently believe that's an integral part to our Domino Vault and Vault business strategy. We believe that our technology and we know how to build the right type of technology, and we've been trusted for decades, and we're ready to build that out for future applications in the future. It also means for us, as you've seen in the Domino roadmap, and actually for connections and DX and also for same time, that we're building everything in a cloud native way. That means we're going to continue to support on-prem installations, but we're also getting you ready for container-based platforms to run inside your enterprise. So then you'll have a freedom of choice to run in the cloud of choice. And then really, it's really around our expertise around the stack. So you'll see us grow our ecosystem, and also this idea about integrating and federating with solutions, because I fervently believe you have a strong ecosystem, strong business partner ecosystem, and you can integrate and federate with things that makes the solutions better for our customers, better for our partners, and delivers more value. So my last slide here, and I'll wrap up. So I've covered a lot of ground around the Domino franchise, low code, the digital office. I've also given you a glimpse about what we're talking about from a digital experience standpoint. As always, we want to thank you for all of the input you provide and being our customers. If you have ideas, we have the HCL Ideas portal for all of our products, for Domino, for Same Time, for Domino Vault, for VaultMX. We have them for connections. If you have ideas, please go out there. Some of the things I've mentioned, I would encourage you to go to the sessions with Barry and Thomas. There's a Domino Early Access program, so some of the exciting V12 capabilities in preview mode. I know you're going to want to see that. Some of the one example of the coexistence integration between Domino and also with VaultMX, there is a toolkit called the VaultMX Loader Script Toolkit out there on GitHub, and this QR code enables you to get there, and that's to sort of enable our developers to start getting some experience of what VaultMX is all about. Lastly, or second to last, is please stay tuned for more information about Project Yuzu and anything that we're doing across our portfolio as far as the digital office is concerned. And I'm very excited about that area, including the open client strategy, which I mentioned, which is coming in the V13 timeframe. So thank you very much for spending time with the session. As I mentioned at the beginning, I wish I was in Russia presenting this slide, but I wish you great luck with the rest of the conference. So I see Vlad's appeared. Hi, Vlad. I can't hear you, Vlad.
Hi, Andrew. I think community and all Domino customers and partners are excited how big progress HCL did in actually in a few years. So this is a fantastic, fantastic job. So thank you for presentation, and it's really, we are really amazed about what is done and what is coming next. We have one question from audience. It's related to same time, but maybe you can tell us. So the question is, when is the richer support of different video equipment is coming, and maybe things like waiting rooms or remote access are coming to same time premium? I know that tomorrow is Jeannie's session about same time. If you know, tell us if, or maybe we can just ask tomorrow, Jeannie.
Okay, so let me just make sure I clarified it. So today, in terms of meeting rooms, we support 3 different types of meeting rooms. We support instant, so it's a random generated link, so you can do that for one-on-one chats or, for instance, meetings. You can support custom, so you and I could have a meeting room called Vlad and Andrew, and then we also have a personal meeting type. So we support that. The other one was about supporting other types of video capability, Vlad.
Right.
I'm not exactly sure what you mean by other types of video types.
Sometimes in meeting rooms, there is, let's say, specialized video equipment to...
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. You in terms of things which like Zoom or Cisco actually have, which is supporting the meeting room stuff. That's not currently on our roadmap. I think that the piece that we're much more focused on right now is this thing here, the phone, and specifically, looking at adding support for Android Auto and also Apple CarPlay.
It's cool stuff. Yeah. I
and
see.
what was there a third part? Was there another part to that, Vlad?
Yeah, and one more, let's say, there is a functionality in Zoom and some other web conferencing tools called waiting room, when you are, allowed to enter a conference. So it's not like only locked or available, but you can pre-moderate users or participants.
Yeah, I think that's a good question for Guinea. I think that's actually in the roadmap. That's something we're currently considering for the next release.
But I'm really excited about, as I said, the same time premium is my favorite product. I do all this.
Oh, that's great.
I'm really excited. Yeah, it's a cool one.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, no, I know a lot of people are excited about same time, and it's been a long time coming, really a long time coming. So the team, Pat Galvin before, Barry Onan, from a development standpoint, and Guinea, and the rest of the team, I think have done a great job.
Yeah, and Roberto is having session tomorrow about how to install it. So for our audience, it will be interesting to know how to do it step by step. So I think we don't have any other questions. Andrew, thank you for coming. It was really good presentation. It helps us to understand where do we go, what is coming, and the projects that are just unveiled. They are awesome, and thank you for your work.
All right, thank you very much. Well, it's a pleasure, Vlad, and we'll hopefully be toasting in the future. So take care. Thanks much for the time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.